From distant lands we gather, hearts of fire all along. Oh, big Nick, 'cause we follow through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moonlight. Warriors of the ancient sea, songs of glory dark and bold. In the night, our spirits free, legends born, tales unfold. Oh, big because we follow through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moonlight. From horizons wild we roam, with thunder in our soul. Every battle brings us home to the stories ages told. Oh, big Nick, 'cause we follow through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moon.
Heyo, folks! It is Friday. It is Sweden's National Day today, where we, for some odd reason, are celebrating the 1974 rewrite of the Swedish foundational laws. Yeah. Hey, we don't need big excuses to find ourselves in a situation where we have a beer or something stronger and some pickled herring and stuff. So, welcome to Slightly Buzzed Friday Law Show. And of course, we are going to go through the Karen Reed trial because, well, today is Crash Daddy Day. And yeah, you gotta. And do we have the Wheel of Regrets? Yes, we do. The Wheel of Regrets is in play. Now, a slight difference between now and other days is that in an hour, Sean, potentially criminal, will start his stream. I will join his stream and restream it back. So I will redirect you to him, and then I hope you will return once I start the dual stream of him, where I will join for the remainder, because I have no idea if I will be able to stay awake for the entirety. So out of precautionary, it's good to have this as a dual stream instead. It's not a wheel of gin, it is the Wheel of Regrets. It's 50-50 hot sauce and different kind of shots. Yeah, that hi Brandon. So it's a 50-50. So it's 50-50 sambuca, vodka. Well, we have gin, sambuca, vodka, whiskey, tequila, and then the rest are new hot sauces. That's the thing for today. And speaking of who we are joining in about an hour. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yeah,
Hi, everybody.
I'm just telling everybody about my Wheel of Regrets and stuff like that, because it's a Slightly Buzzed Friday Law Show, and
it's also National Day. I mean,
yeah, it's our
technically,
National Day.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Here it is for us.
Yeah, yours is in a month.
Also, my hair is not looking good today. But yes, the best holiday of the year is in less than a month. No,
Uh,
I love it. I love it. I love the 4th of July more than Thanksgiving's like my second favorite, but like
Mm.
more than Christmas, more than any other holiday. The 4th
Oh.
of July is the best.
We have our midsummer here.
Mhm.
I mean, nothing beats Swedish midsummer. It is by far my favorite. It is so much different from anybody because we drink, we eat pickled herring, we dance around the phallic symbol, and yeah,
When you guys put it like that.
maybe it's not that different from everybody else, but this one is in summer. That's the big difference. We can be outside. You know, Swedish summers is the best day of the year, and sometimes it's in midsummer. But after that, I don't know which is my favorite after midsummer. I have to go by Christmas. I don't know.
I was gonna say there's a store in Finland called Varstaleka. They sell military surplus, and every year for midsummer they have this competition where you have to, if you guess the correct number of people that'll drown during midsummer, you win like $100 gift certificate or something to the store.
Yeah, I mean, if you think Swedes are extreme, you've never met a Finn. I mean, they are kind of scary.
Mhm.
I mean, it's gorgeous women, dangerous men, and they can hold their alcohol like nobody else. Do you know they have a world
Mhm.
championship in sauna bathing?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Now they had to
Oh, technically
limit
it's
it
sauna.
somewhat because a couple of Russians died a year
Mhm.
when they competed, because they pushed that thing up to 130 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit?
130 Celsius. That's hot.
That's 266 degrees Fahrenheit.
I don't think anybody like they survived in that.
They compete in that, and
I don't know how
they
that's
are not
safe.
allowed to drink.
Mm-hmm.
They all, and then they every 5 minutes they have some water on the rocks, so it gets steamy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, steam can get hot. I
Yeah.
think, but usually the competition lasts like 45 minutes or so before everybody is out of there. But one year, some Russians died, and now they are lowering the temperature because apparently Russians are weak. Yeah, you can cook a good steak in 45 minutes on 266 degrees.
You could cook it quicker than that, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, so they also have a world championship wife carrying, where they carry their wives over an obstacle. Of course, that is an amazing.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that that doesn't surprise me there.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of
I
places
mean,
probably do
that
that.
should be an Olympic sport, if anything. Wife carrying. All right, now. Where was I? Well, I showed the guys the Wheel of Regrets.
Oh, Brandon was asking how much for a spin.
$50, always $50. Yeah, $50 in super chat, gifted memberships, PayPal, buy me a coffee, so of the sort. And Brandon always, but since PayPal takes a less cut, does that mean I can gift less?
That's interesting.
Well, it's a good question, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna. So yeah, it's $50 per spin. Oh God. Yeah, and I also said that I will do here for up until you start your stream. I will redirect everybody. I will join you, and then I will restream
Okay,
to my channel.
that sounds good.
Yeah, so that they still can demand the Wheel of Regrets by sending me money. Now, if you want Sean to have his own spin, he has to make one of his own. Maybe the Mrs. might have objections to that.
Yes, if I don't give her Give her a heads up on that. She might not be thrilled.
Yeah.
2.0 might not like that.
50 witch bucks. Danish crowns, DKK. No, dollars. Dollars. American
money.
dollars.
Real money, not
Real money. Real money. Easily forged American dollars. No, you can't do 50 CAD. Jesus Christ. All right. Should we let's get into let's get into this. Let's get into this. Let's see here. Bum, bum, bum. I am off and running? Really? I'm waiting for the alert here. I'll just check pay to see if it's you asshole. No, not you, Sean. Not you, Sean. Thank you, Brandon, for what does it say? $283.53. Well, yeah, I'll say that's 6 spins. All right, here we go. I will do 2 now and then spread them out. I'll do like the French lady and spread it out. All right. Ta-da! First spin on the wheel of regret. It is a vodka shot. And since it has nothing to do with Alabama, I will use my Alabama shot glass. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. Hey, it's your favorite vodka. It's from Ukraine. I heard you. Oh, look, it's unopened. I had to buy a new one because Brandon was here a few Fridays ago. But when it comes to alcohol, I must say that Ukrainians and Russians, it's basically the same.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Cheers.
Roll Tide.
Now, what I won't do this time around is to usually I hide that choice. Now I won't. Second one.
Other ones might get hidden later.
Oh, that didn't matter. Oh, new hot sauce.
Ooh.
Yes. What I have here are Swedish hot sauces. It's from Fly Mog Hot Sauces.
Okay.
This has strawberry, pineapple, prosecco, honey, scorpion red,
That sounds good with
Armageddon,
Prosecco,
and habanero. And this one is fermented. Now I need to find myself a spoon or the equivalent of a spoon. Where did my spoon go? I don't have a spoon. Sean, entertain them while I get myself a spoon.
All right, guys. So Nick needs a spoon. A spoon is that rounded object which you can ladle in all that delicious hot sauce. And I just don't understand why he doesn't open it up like a bum on the side of the road and just chug it. I mean, that's really what he should do. That's really what he should have done there, is just open it up like it's... I didn't notice that. It's got like horns on the back of his head pad. That's kind of cool. I hadn't seen that before. That's pretty neat. Matt says you got to give it to those former comedy countries as alcohol. Where else are you allowed to distill it? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So, Nick, we were saying, Nick, we were saying I was saying you should just be like a homeless guy on the side of the road and just open it up and just take a swig. Don't need a spoon.
Shaky, shaky, shaky. Now, this is a 4 out of 10 on the strength scale, but in comparison, it is like 3 times Tabasco sauce. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, this is actually really, really good. Whew. Oh, this is really, really good. It's actually not that hot, but I mean, in comparison, because I have here one that is 8 out of 10 with Carolina Reaper, But Orange Copenhagen, 7-pot Lucy, horseradish, and garlic. And that, last time I had that, oh, I was out for a good 5 minutes with that one. And, oh, thank you, Brad. Sean, go ask
right.
2.0 if you can drink some claws.
I don't think I have any. I think I got a. Well, I don't have any claws. I got Topo Chico, but I do have some whiskey.
Yeah.
So I'll grab that. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Brandon, and thank you to Mads. A little of Scandinavia, only hard currency. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, it seems like Brandon got us all drinking. And now Sean is a 2.0. we are getting bribed to drink. Oh, now, if next time the spin on the wheel gets on hot sauce, I won't use this one. I will use this one, which is much darker, and it has habanero, Carolina Reaper, boysenberry, garlic, apple, and blueberry. This is 6 out of 10. So I will go up in strength as I go along. And if everything here continues, I will just start over. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, look at that. Thank you to Brandon and and Ellen, another $50, which so we have 8 spins already. But Jesus Christ. But what I will do is I will not have them all at once because oh wow. Thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you so much. And for you who don't know, I'm going to the United States in September, and the money that goes into the PayPal is being used to, well, if there is enough, I will try to upgrade my flight from economy plus to business. If we don't get there, I will try to I will buy a hat in Miami because I need a hat from Miami. And but I will document my travels around United States for you. It will be on my Nick Starro road trip channel primarily. I will be in Utah from September 3rd to September 19th. I will meet up with Donnie On and Vice Baby, and we will go visit Jeff where he is buried. And then I will go out and visit film sites, movie sites out in the deserts via a camper van. And then I will go to Miami. So I will have one sort of meetup in Utah and then one meetup in Miami, September 20th.
All right, I'm back.
Hey,
So
what 2.0 say?
No, 2.0 is fine. I want to let her know, like, I don't know what our plans are for coming up. So, like, if we have to drive anywhere, it's going to be you. I just like to let her know in case, like, we have to go somewhere.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
driving.
yeah. Often that's a very, very good suggestion.
So yeah, all right. So Brandon put one in, I guess. All right. Well, here we go. We got our.
Hey,
I
thank
saw
you
this
so
sitting
much.
around. I haven't. So
Oh, yeah, and it was 6. I spun 2, and now it's 6 again because
Well,
of Brandon and
I'll
because
take
of
one.
Ellen. Yeah.
Do a 1 ounce shot. This is I use this for mixing stuff for my paint thinner for my models.
Ah.
But it's a alcohol thing, and it's meant to be like all the different milliliters, and so looks like it. Hold on, how much is this? You might get a little more than a 1 ounce shot, Brandon.
What's the Sean shot go for? Well, you will have to do that once we start over at Sean's channel.
The Sean shots will go for $100.
Yeah, it's expensive to get Sean drunk. I'm a cheap bastard.
I'll do 50, but I'm only going to do a couple. I'm not going to do too many because I got to go the whole night, Brandon. So
yeah,
I'll do. Yeah,
it's
that's like an
Swedish
ounce and a
National Day
quarter.
today, and let's just say I didn't start this stream sober.
Here's the Sverga.
Heja Sverige! All right, should we get some? Should we get some trial also into this?
Sure.
Yeah.
So happy Friday. I do have to ask you those same 3 questions. Will you?
Blah blah blah. Yeah, Daddy.
Good morning. So, sir, we're going to try and keep the keep the air conditioning on this morning. So I'm going to ask you to speak really loudly into that microphone, and Mr. Jackson, you do so as well, please. Okay.
Of course, Your Honor. Dr. Wolf, could you please state your entire name and spell your last name for the jurors, please?
Daniel Michael Wolf, last name spelled W-O-L-F-E.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
Dr. Wolf, what do you do for a living, sir?
I am the director of accident reconstruction at a company known as ARCA, A-R-C-C-A.
At this point, all over the world, seat bottoms were completely moist. So,
oh yeah, I went over to Melanie Lill and checked her chat, and it was rowdy in the chat. It was so
I'm sure it was.
in the
Crash Daddies.
chat. Oh yeah. And then when he starts to handle the taillight he brought with him,
Yes.
when he starts to, let's show the taillight, and
I haven't gotten that far yet, so I don't know what's happened yet.
Yeah.
Brandon, I said it was $50. I said I'll do $50, but I'm only going to do a couple.
Thank
I
you,
got to
Pig
do
Slide.
a whole evening.
Slide time. Yeah, let's just say if he's making women slid off bar stools.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is.
And I'm going to start right off the bat, getting really comfortable with that microphone. It's adjustable. Pull it right close to the area of your chin. It's really loud in here.
Okay.
Dr. Wolf, you said you work for ARCA, A-R-C-C-A. What is ARCA?
ARCA is a forensic engineering consulting firm. We have a variety of disciplines, accident reconstruction, which is the group I'm a part of, biomechanics, failure analysis, and crashworthiness.
And you said that your title again, one more time?
The director of the accident reconstruction team.
And what sort of contracts does ARCA normally engage in routinely?
So in addition to our forensic consulting work, we have, going back in time, we've dealt with doing contracts with the Department of Defense, where we designed energy-absorbing seats for MRAP vehicles, mine-resistant armored protective vehicles, where these vehicles were going over explosive devices, and the energy from those explosions was going through the vehicle into the occupant. So ARCA designed energy-absorbing seats to help mitigate the injuries in that type of in those types of incidents. We also do work for the National Hockey League. I myself am part of that work. It has to do with scanning and analyzing player pads, but we certainly do impact testing and help set guidelines for player safety. With
regard to those MRAP vehicles, was that a contract for the Department of Defense for the United States government?
Yes, sir.
For the military?
Correct.
Is ARCA both nationally and internationally recognized as a leader in accident reconstruction?
Okay. Sustained.
Does ARCA have a reputation, or let me ask it this way, does ARCA entertain or engage both domestic and international contracts and clientele?
Yes.
As the director of accident reconstruction, do you specialize in anything other than just accident reconstruction, anything having to do with human factors?
Yes, so my other specialties in addition to accident reconstruction are lighting and human factors.
What is, give us a 25-word overview of human factors. What is that?
So to give you a good example of that is, and again, this is a case that I commonly see, but let's say you're driving down the road at night. It's an unlit roadway. You're relying on your vehicle headlights to see the roadway ahead, right? And you've got a pedestrian that is entering the roadway. And you want to have an understanding based upon the lighting conditions, how much sky illumination there is, their clothing, right? When would a driver recognize that individual on the roadway? So that's where it starts from the vision aspect of human factors. Then we get into driver response, right? So the driver is presented with a hazard. So how do drivers typically respond? What are their actions and how long does that take to avoid and initiate a reaction?
That's human factors. Can you do the same thing and give us an explanation for accident reconstruction just in the broadest sense? What is that discipline?
I think a very simple definition of accident reconstruction is the application of physics and engineering science to collision events.
What role do you take as the director of accident reconstruction for ARCA as contracts come in or engagements come in?
Well, my scope in cases can vary greatly. As I just mentioned, I could have a case where I'm assessing the conspicuity of a pedestrian and a driver's response time. It could be a 50-car pileup on a highway, and I'm trying to figure out a sequence of events. It could be a rear-end collision where a seat back has failed in the vehicle and the occupant has sustained injuries, and we want to have an understanding of the crush, the damage, the forces. So again, it can vary case to case.
Do you engage in reconstruction or attempt to engage in reconstruction of all sorts of passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles?
Yes.
What about motorcycles?
Yes.
Bicycles?
Yes.
Involving pedestrians and sometimes involving no pedestrians?
Yes, I see all types of collisions.
How many cases, if you have a number in mind, have you been a part of in terms of engaging in accident reconstruction broadly?
That's something that I don't track, but I've been with the company now for over 8 years. So at this point, if I had to estimate, it's well over 1,000 at this point.
What education, training, and background do you have that allows you to perform the duties that you've described for these jurors in terms of accident reconstruction and human factors analyses?
In terms of, are you looking at additional training?
No, let's start with your education. I want education,
yep.
training, and background, but we can do them in order.
Okay, yeah, so we'll go back to 2012. I received a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from James Madison University, along with a minor in mathematics. Some of my courses included physics, statics, dynamics, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, your engineering sciences. Subsequent to that, I then went on to pursue my PhD in electrical and computer engineering with a concentration in electromagnetics and photonics. Some of my coursework while doing my PhD included optoelectronics, semiconductor physics, basically how to guide light on semiconductor devices.
Did you write a dissertation to get your PhD?
Yes.
What was the subject matter broadly of the dissertation that you drafted?
So my dissertation focused on a technology called smart glass. So you may have seen this technology where if you've seen a pane of glass that is transparent, somebody flips a switch and it goes opaque. That's a type of smart glass technology. So my PhD involved developing a new type of novel, what we coined optofluidic smart glass. So we are using geometric structures that we've optically designed to create a very reflective surface or medium, if you will. And then through the introduction of various fluids, we can then modulate the amount of visible light and electromagnetic energy that is passing through or being reflected. So not just visible light, but also energy that you can't see. As part of that process, I ended up prototyping these structures with a 3D printer that was capable of printing 3D printable polymers. And as we kind of got towards the end of my work, we looked at how we could scale this up on a larger scale. And we ultimately ended up researching and doing tests with a material known as polymethyl methacrylate, which is PMMA or acrylic.
Yeah, he did his PhD
Plastics
on the exact same material as taillights.
Well, I mean, just he's a plastics expert.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Fucking Shannon Burgess versus this guy. Judson Welcher versus this guy.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
The insanity of his education and then learning about his assertion.
Ooh.
Did he patent
Lord
this?
child.
Is he making money from this? I mean, seriously.
I wonder how many patents he has.
Oh, it should be a bunch. You should be able to look that up. Just have his name or the.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up now. But yeah, like holy cow! It sounds like he has patents here.
Yeah. Thank you to Erica Thorpe. Thank God it's Friday. The weekend with the blogger. See you later, Sean. Also, the Steam guys and gals, happy birthday, Sean.
It's not my birthday.
Is this turning into a Valhalla thing when
I think
every day is his birthday?
Yes, my birthday's not for another 2 months.
let's go through. Thank you to Derek for the
So,
super sticker.
what's his name again? Hold on here. Search applicant name.
Michael Wolf. Middle name something something.
MICHAELWOLFE, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Only one word per text box. Oh, that's part of the issue here.
The claim to Brooklyn, slanted to Pink Slime, for the cost. Gee, you know you don't have to. I know your situation. You don't. You of anybody. But thank you. All right. While Sean does that, I think we have 2 more spins.
Oh my God, this looks. Oh here, I think I found something.
Sambuca. I think I have that over somewhere.
Let's see. Who are our people? Daniel Wolf. That's it. That's the issue. That's why I couldn't find this guy. All right. Although there's a Michael Wolf that did some stuff I don't really understand. So let's see here.
Oh,
Search.
Daniel Wolf. Okay.
Yep.
And Sambuca.
And I don't see any patents with his name on it. So.
Okay.
Oh, this guy sounds smart.
Yeah. If he doesn't have patents, he should have.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Oh, he's an EDR guy. Yes, cheers. Hold on, let me get a shot going. Hold on.
Done. And the next one.
All right. All right, chat. Here we go.
Followed up by a whiskey shot.
Well, I just did one. There we go.
Dun, dun.
God, it's really hard to do this with a massive open-mouthed glass.
Then old
This
hair.
is too
and
big to use.
It has a screw cork.
Yeah.
Because every good whiskey comes with a screw cork.
No, I'm just using. This is just wheat whiskey, so locally
This is a
brewed.
Swedish blended one.
Oh,
This is my go-to whiskey for just, I almost said everyday
Sipping.
use, but I don't drink every day.
it's your sipping whiskey.
Yeah, just, I mean, depending on the day, you know, 2-finger whiskey, depending on your day, if you're using these 2 fingers or these 2 fingers, depending on what day you're having.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Oh, left in here. Cheers.
Oh,
There.
All
Didn't
right.
want to cheers you by yourself.
thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, this guy is stupidly educated. And I mean, when it comes to acetations, that one is, yeah, I mean, you have $1 billion companies paying to research that thing, and he did it as an acetation?
Mhm.
Seriously? I mean, what was my acetation? It was applying old statutes on new law, specifically the Sonabather statute in labor law. So that was fun. The challenge was insane, but yeah, did well. All right.
What relevance does PMMA play in terms of this case?
So with respect to this case, the outer lens and the clear plastic diffusers of the taillights on the Lexus are comprised entirely of polymethyl methacrylate, or that PMMA material.
The same material that was the subject of your dissertation.
Correct.
What additional training and experience do you have as it relates to accident reconstruction beyond your BS and your PhD?
So certainly the 8 years of work that I've had at ARCA has certainly trained and taught me a lot over the last 8 years. Like I said, I've seen hundreds of collisions, all different types of accidents. But in addition to that, I've continued to take courses through Northwestern University in crash reconstruction, human factors and lighting, heavy vehicle forensics, heavy vehicle EDR downloads, Bosch data retrieval, and black box downloads, photogrammetry. So a number of continuing education.
Are you accredited as a traffic accident reconstructionist?
Yes.
By whom?
An organization known as ACTAR.
Is that a nationally recognized organization?
Yes, sir.
What does that stand for, ACTAR?
The Accreditation Commission for Traffic Accident Reconstructionists.
Are you trained in photogrammetry?
Yes.
What is photogrammetry generally?
So photogrammetry is the science of extracting and measuring information in a photograph. So you don't actually have to physically inspect something to be able to get information about its measurements or where things are spatially. You can do that from a photograph alone.
Is that an accepted methodology in the field of accident reconstruction to use photographs and or videos without actually having been at the scene during the course of the crash?
Absolutely. It's very common.
You mentioned Bosch. What is the Bosch crash data retrieval analysis? What is that generally?
So generally, most modern vehicles on the roadway now have what's called an airbag control module, or more commonly known as a black box, which can contain crash-specific data in a collision.
Are you a member of any professional societies?
Yes.
Can you describe those for us, please?
So I'm a member of the Society of Automotive Engineers, the National Association for Professional Accident Reconstruction Specialists, the Illuminating Engineering Society, and the Optical Society of America.
Is it fair to say that you've authored a number of peer-reviewed papers in the field of physics and or accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Can you describe that for us?
So my most recent publication in the field of accident reconstruction deals with vehicle control history records. Publications prior to that were focused primarily on my dissertation and PhD work.
I think you testified that you have dealt with probably over 1,000 different types of cases. Are you able to estimate, of those 1,000 different types of cases dealing with accident reconstruction, how many of those or what percentage of those have involved pedestrians?
I don't know if I can give a percentage. I would certainly say it's the majority of my casework. As I mentioned earlier, given one of my specialties being in human factors and lighting, there's a direct correlation between time of day and pedestrian collisions. We certainly see a rise as sky illumination drops and the illumination levels go down. We're having to rely on artificial light sources. So given that occurrence happens in nighttime hours and low illumination, like I said, I certainly see many pedestrian accidents.
What types of pedestrian impacts have you been involved with in terms of your analysis or evaluations?
All different types.
This is an interesting question. Folks, when it comes to Hank, no matter how you feel about him, no matter how insane you think his argument is in this case, let me form this into a question. Sean, if you did something stupid, would you hire Hank if you could?
Yes. Hank is a very good attorney. He would get results. He's not bad at what he does. It's, he's using defense attorney scruples and ethics right now, and I find that deeply concerning. But other than that, no, I'm sure Hank is a phenomenal attorney to have defending you. Yeah. He wouldn't get to where he was. He wouldn't get to demand 250 G's from the prosecutor's office if he wasn't that good.
Yeah,
I would argue.
Because Hank is treating the state's case as a defense case. They are producing vague and hypotheticals when it regards to this must have been a collision between the car and John. And then they look at what the defense presents, and then they try to apply reasonable doubt to the defense case, more or less, in my opinion. But would I hire Hank if I was in trouble? Yeah, because if he's doing this for the state, I hope he does it for me. I mean, he's on the line. He sometimes crossed the line. I want a lawyer like that defending me. Now, I would prefer Mr. Steele.
Yes,
but I can't. That's way out of my price range.
He also might not be available. He's a busy man.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, no matter how you feel about Hank, he's a good. Kay says he's a good attorney. He's just a prick. Yeah, if he wins cases, I don't care if the the defendant really don't care if he's a prick or not, if he actually gets results.
Hmm.
It's just that in this particular case, when he is hired to prosecute Karen Reed, yes, I have issues. But would I? Yeah, if anything, I think his hourly rate has gone up from this case.
Hmm.
It's everything from pedestrians being run over, running into the side of vehicles, being hit by the front of a vehicle backing up in a parking lot into a pedestrian. So I've seen it from all sides of a vehicle.
What is kinematics? Can you describe that or explain that phrase or term?
I think a simple definition would just be the motion of an object or a body.
Have you done any testing as it relates to kinematics and the interaction between pedestrians and motor vehicles?
Yes.
How many times have you engaged in such an analysis?
Numerous times. We frequently and routinely do testing at ARCA.
You mentioned ARCA has several different disciplines within it. What are some of those different disciplines in addition to accident reconstruction?
So, as I mentioned, we have biomechanics and crashworthiness, and there's a few others. And I will note that it's very common in our casework that we will work together as a team. So, to give you an example of that, I mentioned earlier about that rear end collision, right? So let's just say we have a rear end crash, and there's crush and there's damage to the rear of the vehicle, and the seat back failed, which caused the driver to ramp up in the seat and ultimately hit their head on something and sustain an injury. So I myself, as a reconstructionist, will analyze the forces, the speeds, and the severity of the crash. The biomechanist will evaluate the mechanism for the injury based upon those crash forces. And the crashworthiness expert may analyze, okay, is there a better or stronger seat that may have held up in this crash?
Is it normal for you, as the Director of Accident Reconstruction at ARCA, to work with others in the other disciplines that are housed under the umbrella of ARCA?
Absolutely, yes.
Is that a normal process for you?
Very common, yes.
As a matter of fact, it probably would be uncommon if you didn't do that, correct?
Depending on the kind of case, but yes, certainly wouldn't be uncommon.
Tell me about the testing that you've undertaken to determine forces that are at play in a given accident or an impact.
Okay. So to give you a simple example of it is, let's just say we have a sideswipe type collision where two vehicles sideswipe each other and a front bumper gets torn off or deflected, essentially, and there's some deformation to it. Right? We can do testing at ARCA to determine how much force does it take to bend that material so that we get the deformation that we have. That would be a good example.
Is there a specific type of testing, or is there varied types of testing that you've done and undertaken to determine the forces that would be, for instance, in your example, in that the forces at play in that sideswipe collision?
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been, again, as part of the test, we would be measuring the forces, we'd be measuring the displacement, we'd be able to calculate acceleration and things of that nature from that test data.
The tests that you undertake, are they generally accepted methodologies in the field of accident reconstruction?
Yes.
What are quasi-static tests?
So a quasi-static test would be like the example I just gave you, where we have basically the bumper would be stationary, right? And now we're pulling on it to determine how much force it takes to bend it. So that'd be an example of a quasi-static test.
So that test specifically is determining or attempting to determine the amount of force necessary to deform a bumper.
Yeah, when they talked about this, I hoped they were going to go into how does a bumper to bumper deform if they are going towards each other? As in, how did it crack at John's place? Because if you don't know, folks, bumpers are flexible for a reason.
Yes, and they dent easy. Yes.
Yeah. So I wished they had gone into that with this. They didn't. So again, it seems like they abandoned. Well, not abandoned. They can still argue it, but they didn't test if that collision between Karen's SUV and John's truck, if that actually would have caused some kind of damage. It seems like they have abandoned that to say it was intact when she got to 34 Fairview. It seems like they more or less abandoned it, but they're just there to create reasonable doubt. They don't have to have a clear red line. They just has to, doesn't make sense. And I think the ARCA guys, it's the key. They have to do good. Because if there weren't a collision, Yeah, and we will get into that further on when it gets to Sean, if you haven't seen it, it gets so bad from Hank Brennan. It gets so bad.
No, Nick, this is as far as I've gone. So when we go over to my show, we're just going to be kind of going back through this. I have not gotten this far yet. I didn't watch it. I don't watch it specifically because I want to react to it. And this is impressive.
Okay. Then I will stop talking.
No. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. Because everybody in chat's like, oh my God, like every day, like it gets better. And I'm like, I'll look forward to it.
Yep.
For instance, in the way that it's seen after an impact.
Yes.
Or any other body panel, correct?
Correct.
And on the human side, also there are forces at play, I'm assuming, in terms of injuries that are sustained by pedestrians in the accident reconstructions that you've done involving pedestrians.
Yes.
Do you have experience in evaluating whether damage to a vehicle is consistent with a proposed scenario or set of facts?
Yes.
Describe those circumstances for us. What are the circumstances in which you're trying to determine whether or not the damage fits a proposed scenario?
So a case that commonly comes across my desk is we have two very different versions of how an accident unfolded according to party A and party B, right? And we have a set of evidence in terms of the damage to the vehicles, maybe some roadway evidence, right? So we can look at that objective evidence, utilize physics, maybe some calculations to determine whose version is most consistent based upon the damage and the roadway evidence.
Is that an accepted methodology in the field of accident reconstruction?
Yes.
In other cases in which you've undertaken such an engagement to determine whether or not the physics or the physical evidence matches a particular scenario or is inconsistent with that scenario, have you been able to ultimately reach conclusions and opinions to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty in those cases?
Yes.
Is that normally what you're seeking, to ultimately come to an opinion or a conclusion about those scenarios or circumstances?
Yes.
Are your opinions and conclusions based on your education, your training, the background and experience that you've explained to the jurors?
Yes.
Is it also in furtherance of the scientific methodologies that you employ in order to come to those opinions and conclusions?
Yes.
And are those generally accepted in the scientific and accident reconstruction community as a proper methodology to come to opinions and conclusions of that nature?
Yes, sir.
Have you been qualified in other courts to testify in the area of accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Let's talk about how you began your work in this particular case. When you were initially retained in connection with this case, were you hired by the defense?
No.
Did you know who we were?
Sustained.
Objection and sustained.
What?
Your Honor, may we
Why?
approach?
You can ask.
Yeah. In the first trial, these questions were accepted, but apparently not now. Oh, you're going to be so angry.
Differently, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Were you hired by anybody affiliated with the defense?
No.
At that time, did you know any of the names of the defense?
No.
At the time that you were hired to or engaged in this case, did you even know the name Karen Reed?
Sustained.
Did you know any of the names of any of the parties?
Sustained. Hosea.
Sure.
No, that he's allowed to say, do you know any of the names of any of the parties? Oh, come on.
Yeah. When you were retained, did you know any of the names of the people involved in this? Perfectly acceptable question. And it was acceptable in the first trial. Not now.
So
And they're having a sidebar
yes.
because, well,
I mean, I get saying, did you know who Karen Reed was? That's, that could be considered leading. But
Yeah.
the idea, did you know any of the people involved before you did this? Yeah. Like at some point it's,
yeah. I mean, in the first trial, more or less the only thing they couldn't say was who hired them. The rest was fair play.
yeah.
Not anymore. Derek asks, did the state not try to hire ARCA first? No, because they didn't know ARCA did any testing.
Yeah.
Because the feds did all the testings,
had
and
ARCA.
all of a sudden, boom! Congratulations, defense and state. Here's some results of testing. And it didn't speak towards the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth, I don't think they even tried to reach out to them once they got the results of the first round of testing. So no, they definitely did not try to hire ARCA.
When you were initially hired to look at the facts and circumstances of this case, did you do so independently? In other words, were you given a series of facts and a series of data and asked, just look at these facts and look at these data and make a few determinations about accident reconstruction in this case?
Yes.
What were you asked to do specifically?
It was to look at that evidence that we were provided and determine whether or not the damage to the vehicle was consistent with the injuries to Mr. John O'Keefe.
At the time that you were asked to engage in this independent analysis, were you provided information or data?
Yes.
Who at ARCA was assigned to the team that would ultimately engage in this particular analysis?
It was myself, Dr. Andrew Rentschler, and Scott Klein.
Describe what the materials were that you were provided in your initial assessment of this case.
Could I refer to my report?
With the court's permission.
How about that? You can actually ask the court for permission before you have your laptop and everything.
Would you like me to just go in order from the materials
Unlike
reviewed?
Dr.
That would be
Webster, who had
Yeah.
it up
The
entire
Norfolk
time.
SPDU homicide
This
death
is
report,
impressive.
Yeah.
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of State Police crime scene report, OCME dispatch removal report, photographs of the incident location, videos of the incident location, photographs of the 2021 Lexus LX 570, photographs of recovered evidence, crash data retrieval report from the 2021 Lexus LX 570, report of autopsy photographs, and there was a few other items there, but those were generated internally.
There were about 14 things that were listed in terms of categories of information that you were provided, or ARCA was provided, is that right?
A little less than that, because some of those, like I said, were internally generated, but
Understood.
yes.
Why were you provided that data? What's the reason why it's important for you to get certain data as you begin your analysis?
Well, we wanted to have an understanding of, or ultimately the entity that retained us wanted to have an understanding of what, I guess, the evidence that we would need to reconstruct this.
Did you get enough information to engage in a fulsome analysis, an accident reconstruction, in terms of the initial request by the entity that hired you?
Yes, in terms of our scope, yes, we had sufficient information.
Were you able to review photographs of not only the Lexus involved, but John O'Keefe's body?
Yes,
Did you use those photographs in furtherance of your analysis?
yes,
Did you use the reports detailing scenarios or possible scenarios in furtherance of your analysis?
From what I recall, I don't believe any of the reports indicated any type of theory or understanding of how the accident occurred.
Were you asked to determine whether or not certain scenarios could be possible?
I don't recall them giving us any scenarios to evaluate. They essentially left it in our hands. Here's the evidence. What do you think happened?
That was an open question, correct?
Correct.
All right. Did you engage in an analysis that basically allowed you to think of any scenario?
I think that's fair, yes.
In your initial analysis, did you note damage to the vehicle?
Yes.
Describe the damage. Let's start with the vehicle. Describe the damage that you noted in furtherance of your analysis.
The primary damage was to the right rear taillight on the quarter panel section. The majority of the outer red lens was broken and shattered, as well as some of the underlying components and diffusers that are underneath that outer layer, as well as some damage to the back portion of the taillight.
Can I stop you right there? Describe when you say the outer lens material and some interior material as well was damaged. Describe that in detail for us.
So the outer lens is red, and it's about 5 millimeters in thickness, and it basically encompasses the majority of that quarter panel taillight. And then there's a small segment that is clear, that is for the turn signal indicator, which is yellow. Underneath that 5 millimeter thick red lens, there are additional diffusers that run along the bottom. There's two rows of those, I believe, and then they also go up vertically on the side, and those are clear. And I think the thicknesses of those are about 3 millimeters.
Is 5 millimeters of PMMC, have I got that right, PMMA?
You call it acrylic. That's the more common name.
Easier for me. Is 5 millimeters of that acrylic, that outer lens material, is that considered thick or thin in terms of just sort of what we'd see on a taillight?
I would describe that as a pretty thick piece of plastic. It's certainly by no means. You can't, if you had a segment of it and you tried to.
The ARCA guys are the guys that the prosecution tried to stop from testifying. Yes.
Yes. And hey, Nick, I'm actually going to hop out and get over to my stream
All
and
right.
get fired up here in a second. Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'll see you in a minute. Nick, it was happy to nice hanging out with
I
you.
will. I will join you in a few minutes.
Sure,
Once I
sure.
see that you are up and running, I will close, redirect, and then start a new stream, which still will be slightly bust Friday, slightly.
Yes.
I still
Hold
have
on,
what
Nick,
is
I'll
it?
send you the one, too.
Four spins left.
Yes, and hold on,
Yeah.
make sure you...
Yeah.
Oh,
so
you know what? Hold on.
while
Why don't I just send it
Sean
to
is
you
going
here?
out, I will make two more.
Nick, I just sent it to you in the private chat, so you have it. Bye, chat. Spin that wheel.
It is the wheel of regrets. Let's see. It's another vodka shot. Oh God. Sweden's National Day. Here we go. In an Alabama shot glass. Cheers. Oh. All right. Let's do another one. Dun dun dun. Oh, for fuck's. Oh. Oh wow. All right, Sambuca. No, I will not lit it on fire. Every piece of alcohol that is 40% over or above, you should be able to put on fire. Oh, wrong cork. There it is. Cheers. Pink slime. I'll pay you to not drink Sambuca. Oh. Whew. Wow. All right. I have two more. I have to count here. Bum, bum, bum. Two more and 2, 7, 12, 14, 20, and 26 to another one. Yay.
Bend it, it's not going to bend.
In addition to that outer taillight material, that acrylic, in terms of the information that you received, did the interior acrylic also have damage to it?
Yes, those clear diffusers that, again, there's 2 rows of those, and they also went up vertically. Those were shattered and broken as well.
Was that important to you in your ultimate analysis?
Yes.
Did you note any superficial scratches or dents anywhere on the tailgate area or the liftgate area?
Yes, there was a dent and some paint chips, if you will, above the liftgate taillight assembly. So again, that next to that quarter panel taillight, there's another assembly that is on the liftgate, and there was a small dent and some paint chips at that area. There was also on the wraparound section of the bumper cover, as it's going from the rear to the right side, there were some superficial scrapes in that area.
Did you note any other damage or deformation to the Lexus? Deformation in the the liftgate, the bumper, anything like that?
No.
Is it common in a vehicle-pedestrian collision that there is some sort of bumper deformation that's associated with a vehicle-pedestrian incident?
Kept telling me
that can certainly occur if a pedestrian is in a normal upright position. You can certainly get displacement of the bumper.
Did you see any displacement or panel deformation on the Lexus?
No.
Is it common? Is it more common that there's panel displacement?
Okay, that is why they don't argue that the bumpers might have collided and deformed in order for the taillight to crack in the Lexus towards the truck. All right, I get it.
Deformation if the collision is above, say, 10 or 15 miles an hour.
Yes.
During your review of all the investigative materials, did you note any items of evidence that were recovered or claimed to have been recovered on the bumper itself?
I recall there were 2 or 3 apparent glass fragments.
What's the significance of that? Let me ask it differently. Is there any glass in the taillight assembly?
Folks, at some point, you have to calculate how many times that damn siren. Because Canton is not a big place. How the frick can they have that many blue light sirens going off in a day? It's not a big place.
May I ask that again?
Yes.
Is there any glass in the taillight assembly?
No.
Was there any shattered glass anywhere on the Lexus? Meaning panes of glass, the back window, quarter panel windows, anything like that?
No.
Did you have any understanding at that time of what the Commonwealth's theory of the case was when you began your initial analysis?
Sustained.
Did you have any indication of what the Massachusetts State Police theory of the case was based on the investigative reports that you had received?
Sustained.
Did you perform an accident reconstruction analysis to determine whether or not the damage to the Lexus, that taillight housing material, was consistent with an interaction with a pedestrian?
Yes.
Specifically, did you perform an
Yeah. Now, these questions were directly directed on towards the state's original theory. And as of now, in this particular part, Judge Bev is making a decision. No, you can't refer to what they thought in the first one. That will change. Let's just say that, but not during the defense direct examination.
accident reconstruction to determine whether the damage to the Lexus was consistent with an interaction with John O'Keefe based on the injuries that you were aware of?
Yes.
Did you evaluate whether the investigative theories regarding, let me ask it a different way. Did you consider the possibility of Mr. O'Keefe's head striking the taillight?
Yes.
Did you consider the possibility of Mr. O'Keefe's arm striking the taillight?
Yes.
Did you entertain the possibility that Mr. O'Keefe's center of mass, his body, struck the taillight?
Yes.
Before we get into the initial testing, were you able to come to opinions and conclusions concerning those things that I just mentioned?
Yes.
Did you also entertain the possibility that a drinking glass could have damaged the taillight?
Yes.
Were these some of the things that you were sort of was left open to you to decide yourself?
Yes.
Did you later provide all of those opinions and conclusions in a report to the entity that hired you?
Yes.
And your understanding that those reports were then later supplied to both sides here in this case?
That was my understanding, yes.
Did you testify about those initial testing opinions and conclusions at a proceeding last year?
Yes.
Let's talk for a second about that initial testing that you conducted in connection with this case. When approximately did you begin your testing? And I'm going to phrase it as your initial testing, the testing that you testified to about last year. When did you start that initial testing?
From what I recall, it would have been late 2023 into early 2024.
For you who wonder, the federal grand jury was early 2024. So their results of their initial testings probably was presented to the grand jury. Here's the thing. We don't know what the feds was going for. We still don't. They won't reveal, and they have no obligation to reveal what that grand jury decided and what they decided on. That's still up in the air. Folks, just because they concluded their investigation regarding the Karen Reed case does not mean that this is not just a part of a bigger picture investigation. Because we still have the Sandra Birchmore case. And there are overlaps in investigators who worked on both the Karen Reed case and the Sandra Birchmore case, and who knows how many other cases.
I want to talk about the drinking glass first. Did you become aware that there was a drinking glass that was found at the scene?
Yes.
And what was the testing that you sought to determine as it relates to the drinking glass and the taillight?
So looking at the evidence, as I mentioned earlier, when we're looking at that quarter panel taillight, we have an isolated region of damage. And looking at the additional evidence in terms of a broken drinking glass at the scene, we wanted to do testing to determine if a small object or projectile, such as the drinking glass, could induce damage that was consistent with that we saw on the subject Lexus.
Were you able to reach an opinion and or conclusion as it relates to whether or not there is a possibility that the drinking glass or a drinking glass could cause the type of damage that you saw on the Lexus?
Yes.
Given everything else in your investigation, are you concluding that the glass was responsible for the taillight damage?
No.
However, you did seek to determine whether it was possible, correct?
Sustained.
I'll ask it a different way, Your Honor. What testing did you undertake in furtherance of answering that specific question? Could the glass damage the taillight?
Right. So we designed a pressurized cannon that was capable of firing the drinking glass into the taillight at various speeds. We aimed for speeds of 30 and 40 miles an hour. Our achieved speeds were at 31 and 37 miles per hour. And we found that in the 37 mile an hour impact, and again, this is to emulate or simulate an individual throwing a drinking glass. The purpose of the cannon, if you will, was to be able to hone in on a speed precisely and obviously aim for that target. So it would just serve as a means of getting that projectile to the taillight in a means that we could measure it. And what we observed in the 37 mile an hour test is that we got damage that was generally consistent with that of the subject taillight, and that there was a large portion of the outer lens that was shattered and fractured, as well as the underlying clear plastic diffusers and chrome piece.
Tell me a little bit about the methodology that you undertook, the scientific methodology in building that pneumatic cannon and aiming that glass directly at the taillight.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, it was a customized cannon, if you will. It had a barrel that was capable of fitting a rocks or an old-fashioned drinking glass in it, and that's a glass that has a thinner sidewall, if you will. I think the glass was about 3 inches in height or so, maybe 3.5 inches, with the bottom portion being solid glass or just a thick piece of glass. So we were able to design a kind of a holder for it, if you will. Almost, you could really think of it as stuffing an actual cannon with a cannonball. So we literally would put the drinking glass in the cannon. There was a pressurized vessel behind that we would open up a valve rapidly, and when it was set to a certain pressure, that would determine the exit velocity that it would leave the barrel at. And we were able to aim that device into the taillight at those specified speeds to be able to determine what would the damage pattern be when we fired that glass.
Were you able, in this scientific experiment, to control for aim and trajectory?
Yes.
Were you able to control for velocity or exit speed of the glass?
Yes.
Were you able to control for damage patterns as it pertained to both the glass as well as the taillight at which it was aimed?
I don't know that we had control over that. Ultimately, physics takes over after that interaction occurs. I can't influence how that material is going to perform or how the glass will break, per se.
It was a poor question on my part. Were you able to, or did you undertake to memorialize the damage pattern that you saw on the taillight and the glass as the glass was projected into the taillight?
Yes.
All right. Did you do that through photographs?
Yes.
High-speed video?
Yes.
And all of that was memorialized in your report?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Yeah. Sean hasn't started yet, so he's late.
I'm handing you 2 photographs, or 2 8.5 by 11 documents that contain
Oh,
2 photographs each.
okay.
Can you take a look at those 2
Sean
documents and tell me if you
has
recognize those?
started.
Yes.
And
Does
we
one-
are at 55 minutes. Folks, this is what's going to happen now. I will redirect you to Sean's stream. I will jump over to Sean's stream, and then I will restream Sean's stream, so we don't compete with each other. That way, we get a larger audience seeing both of us reacting to this pile. For the defense case in chief, yes. And we will come to the cross-examination. And, oh, Sean, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. So, folks, what's going to happen now is I have 3 spins left. I will make 2, then yeet you over to Sean, and then we continue from there. So let's go. The wheel of regrets. Again? I mean, 3 out of 5 have landed on Sambuca shots. Somebody really don't like me. And in my Alabama glass. Oh. Oof. Dun, dun, dun. Are you fucking kidding me? No! It's a hot sauce. It's a hot sauce. And now I will go into the 6 out of 10. The 6 out of 10. Where did I put? There it is. My spoon. My 6 out of 10 hot sauce. With habanero and Carolina Reaper, boysenberry, blueberry, apple, garlic, smoke, aroma, and spices. Ta-da! This is a beefy kind of hot sauce. Ooh. The lack of gin is shockingly disturbing. Ooh. Ooh, this is hot. I don't know why it doesn't land on gin. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Brandon. But I can't control where it lands. Ooh. Oh. Hi, Lone Star Living. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm about to send you off to Sean. And then once I'm over at Sean, I will restream Sean's stream on my channel. I still have 1 spin left and $26 to the next spin on the wheel. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in for this part. The next part will come to you via Sean. You have the link in the chat. No, you don't. Hold on. Here is the link to Sean. And I will join you over there as I then will restream it back to my channel. My deepest apologies. All right, folks. Sending you off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.